Hey everyone, welcome back to the Glass Seats podcast. This is our show where two hockey aficionados discuss their perspectives on headlines surrounding the NHL, including recent stories, game highlights, league culture, and other topics trending amongst the fans. This is Viddy.
My name is Mrinal, and this week we're going to be doing a little Hockey Heroes episode.
Yes, sir.
You know, for all you listeners of this show, we thought we'd spend some time for you to get to know us a little bit better.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we did our pilot episode.
Yeah, looked like crap. Remember when we were recording on pucks on iPhones?
Yeah. And look, now we have mics.
Now we have mics and lights.
I know.
Quite the glow.
Growth.
Yeah, growth.
Yeah, so we thought we'd just talk a little bit about ourselves. We're going to talk about specific players actually this time.
Yeah.
We're going to get into, you know, who are the players we like and just have some fun.
Yeah.
So sit back, relax, throw this on while you're doing
Cooking
your
dinner.
Friday chores, Friday dinner, whatever it is.
Laundry, yeah.
And we're just going to talk a little bit hockey, get a little nostalgic.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, for any listeners who missed our pilot episode, can you give them a quick recap of why are you a hockey fan?
So I got into it from my fifth grade teacher, Mr. Trent. He would do kind of like, let's say, you can call them extra credit games, and they were always sports related. So sometimes it'd be basketball, sometimes it'd be, soccer. He also had a hockey stick and a puck in his classroom, and there was just enough no friction, I guess, to where the puck would slide. And so we would almost do like a curling type of style games, and that's kind of where I got into hockey. He was also a huge Sharks fan, growing up in the Bay Area as most people are. And so he really got me into it, and it kind of just started growing from there. I had some fans who were really into it, some classmates who were big fans of it as well. And so we would just talk Sharks here, there, and it slowly spiraled into an obsession, a very painful obsession being a Sharks fan.
And now you're on a podcast.
And now I'm on a podcast talking about it. But we talk about other teams now too. And I can appreciate other teams now too. So growth, part 2.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What about you?
For me, my best friend at the time was a Sharks fan. I got into them when I was in middle school. So the first... actually, I should say he just wanted someone to go to a game with him, so I went.
Mm-hmm.
San Jose Sharks versus, I believe, Edmonton Oilers, and the game ended up going to a shootout. There was a fight, and had a little bit of everything you could want as a hockey fan. And I don't even remember who won, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I was kind of hooked after that.
Yeah.
And that was in the middle of the 2007-2008 season.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the
first year of the new logo.
Yes, first year of the new Sharks logo at post redesign. So that was the first season that I watched and been hooked since then.
Mm-hmm.
Was a big Sharks fan through middle and high school. And kind of after high school, I started watching a lot more of the other teams.
Yeah.
And, really appreciating the strategy, the management, the behind the scenes of hockey.
The analytics stats. Yeah.
And a few more years later, and here I am on this podcast.
Yeah. I can't really say I appreciate as much of the stats and the technical side of it. I'm definitely a lot more into the creative side of it in terms of just, how is the game presented? How are the jerseys presented? Because, how hockey fans and, jerseys being art canvases as opposed to clothing. And yeah, I'm definitely more into the creative side of it and the culture around it. I say it at the start of every episode, league culture. And that includes, like the creative side and the, again, the jerseys and just how the game is presented. And I don't know, very fascinating to me. So yeah. So there's definitely two sides of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
My brain is not wired enough to understand the numbers and everything, but
you're not a big trivia guy.
No, I couldn't tell you trivia unless it's like from things I've seen within the past season. Yeah. I consume too much hockey and it becomes a little bit clouded. But I remember the playoffs really, really well.
Yeah.
I've
noticed that.
Yeah.
Like you will remember like plays from the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like I'll remember generally, okay, who won what series, who won the cup, those things I know.
Yeah.
Who won the Conn Smythe.
Mm-hmm.
But like you'll be like, oh yeah, they would have won if this one puck didn't hit the boards at that angle or something. I'm like, oh damn.
Yeah.
Those exact plays.
I will hold a vendetta the way St. Louis fans hold against Bruins fans in 2019. That's how into it that's at least how into the playoffs I am. Yeah.
St. Louis won that cup.
Yeah, and they're still mad about it. I'll say it like it is. They're still mad about it. Congrats, guys! You won.
First fan base to be mad about winning.
I think maybe not the first, but once Toronto wins, I feel like they're going to be the same way.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, we won, but Nylander's getting too much money.
Like, guys, you want to trade roles with the Canucks, Sabres, and Sharks fans of the world?
Yeah.
The Arizona fans of the world? Yeah.
All right. Shall we get into some of our favorite players?
Yeah. Let's do it.
So I have some questions prepared here that you got a chance to look at, but I don't know your answers, nor do you know mine. So let's start. It's been, 15, 16 years since we started watching the Sharks?
Yeah. 07, you said, right?
Yeah. So a long time.
Yeah.
So I would like to ask you, on the current San Jose Sharks, who are not great, but who is your current favorite player?
Got to go with Tomas Hertl. He's been one of my favorites since he torched the New York Rangers with 4 goals.
Yeah.
And we got the most epic jumbo quote of all time. Not going to say it.
Not appropriate for air.
Not appropriate for air. But you can go look that up if you want. When he was 19, he scored 4 against the Rangers, including a sweet between the legs goal, I think it was. And from that moment, I was like, this kid is different. Until his knee kind of got messed up. Yeah. By the one and only Dustin Brown. Yeah. But he's still been. He's not the caliber of player we expected him to be, but he's definitely evolved into like part of the Sharks' identity. When you think of the Sharks, there's certain players that stand out in the core, and I think Hurl's going to be one of them amongst Couture, Thornton, Pavelski, Marleau. Like,
you're putting him in that tier.
I would at this point, just because, especially with that 8-year commitment that he also signed, Burns along those lines. Yeah, he really was committed to the team, and he's never played anywhere else. And with that contract, unless he gets traded, it looks like he's finishing his career here too. So.
I mean, he said he wants to.
Yeah, he wants to too. That's what he really lives and dies by the teal. So I love it. I love the commitment, and I wish we could win him a cup. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we will someday. But he's still my favorite all these years later. So yeah,
and fun must be always.
Fun must be always. He's just so infectious. Remember him and Tommy Wingles just
Tommy and Tommy
all the time. Tommy and Tommy, yeah. Oh, great combo, yeah. But yeah, what about you? Current favorite player of the 4 NHL players on the roster?
So this player has gotten flack in recent years for not being as good, but he is the only player who is still on the Sharks from the first season that we started watching. He is still here. I really liked this player growing up. He wasn't flashy. He didn't put up points, but goddamn could he defend. Yeah. And I think he was integral to the Sharks, even if he didn't show up on the score sheet. Yep. So, and that is Mr. Marc-Edouard Vlasic. Yeah. Yep. Pickles, as he's affectionately known. Yeah. But he was such a force defensively. Yeah. Like, yes, we talked
about
another
goalie on skates.
Yeah, pretty much.
Not even on skates, just like anywhere on the ice. Yeah.
Watching him shut down plays, like it was easy. Yeah. He made it look easy. Yeah. That's why he didn't get recognition. It wasn't like he was, sliding across the ice like Brent Burns used to, or like skating all the way back like Erik Karlsson used to. He was just in the right place. Yeah. You try to get past him, he's like, nope, I'm going to take that puck from you, and I'm just going to like corral you right into the corner. It's not like he's throwing big hits out there like Douglas Murray used to.
Not throwing fights or fists or anything.
But he was so integral to that Sharks dominance in the 2000s and the 2010s. Yep. And, he allowed players like Thornton to be Thornton. He allowed players like Marleau to be Marleau. Pavelski, Danny Heatley when we had him. Dan Boyle when we had him. Yeah. None of them could have done what they do without Marc-Edouard Vlasic.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. And personality-wise, it completely matches his play on ice. Like, he's just a chill, laid-back dude. He lives in San Jose with like 4 Goldens or something like that.
He loves dogs.
Yeah, he loves dogs. And he loves pasta. Yeah,
hates interviews.
I mean, like, good for him. He's a very low-key, just normal dude who likes to play hockey and does it really, or at least was doing it really well until past couple seasons.
Age catches up to everybody.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But the only reason people are even mad about it is because he has a $7 million cap hit.
Yeah.
So, like,
and that's after like years of being taking team friendly deals.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the guy needed to get paid eventually. He also has to retire and live his life eventually. So
ideally we should have paid him when he was good, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, it's fine. Again, he took the team friendly deals so that people like Thornton and Marleau and Pavelski and Boyle could all shine. So
yeah. And for the Sharks to have that, it was like 15 years straight in the playoffs, something like that.
Yeah. something crazy.
Yeah. I have a soft spot in my heart for Pickles.
Yeah.
Even though he's not great.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
What about not on the Sharks? Who do you like?
Oh, this is honestly, there's two players I want to answer, but my gut tells me to go with Austin Matthews.
Ooh.
And man, that, yeah, I'll say it. He's probably the most entertaining. He might not be the best player in the league.
I mean, he's in the conversation.
Yeah, he is. But I think he's the most entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
And I would put maybe Connor Bedard behind him. Like people
in terms of like entertainment,
it's pure entertainment, like highlight reels. He's just fun to watch.
The other name I'd put in Austin Matthews tier is David Pastrnak.
Yes, yeah, agreed. Yeah, it just absolutely entertaining and just insane. Probably the most batshit crazy wrister I've ever seen in my life.
Dude, that thing flies.
Yeah, I mean the reason he has at this point we're recording in January, and he has close to 40 goals, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. And most of them are just wristers that the goalies can't stop. It's almost the Ovechkin version of, it's not the slap shot, but it's like the Matthews wrister, you know?
Ovechkin was known for the one-timer.
Yeah.
Matthews is known for the wrister.
The wrister, yeah. And it's just unstoppable. Goalies just can't stop it. And it's multiple goals a night.
Yeah.
Feels like he has a hat trick like once a month almost. So it's crazy. Yeah, Matthews is just the most entertaining player to watch.
The only way to stop him is to not let him take the shot.
Essentially, yeah.
You have to play him close. You have to put him in not ideal shooting locations.
Yeah.
But then, the man has such good vision too. He'll just pass.
Yeah.
That's why Toronto offense is so good.
Yeah.
And why the fact that they don't have good defense is so heartbreaking, because you see how good this team could be, you know?
They need Mark Edward Vlasic, yeah. I also just like the fact that I like the way he carries himself and
the fashion.
And again, you're very restricted in what you can say living in Toronto and dealing with the media.
Yeah.
So he's very quiet and laid back, but go follow him on Instagram, go see him anywhere other than Toronto.
Yeah.
And he's he's got personality, and it's cool to see. Yeah. The way he carries himself is very different.
Even official things he does. I think one of the All-Star games, he had a video with like Nasher from YouTube of them playing Chell together. He's just a cool guy. He's just a cool,
laid back dude. Yeah. I also love the fact that he paid homage to Marleau at the All-Star game.
Oh yeah,
in San Jose.
Yeah. The first year Marleau was in.
And I was like, because
Toronto.
Yeah, he knows like. He's made some dumb decisions in the past, but what kid doesn't? And he's a very he's a good dude and entertaining as hell to watch. So it's kind of hard to pass on that. But yeah. All right, your turn.
For
Favorite
me,
player not in San Jose.
So I'm going to mention a player who has been controversial in recent years.
Oh boy. Brad Marchand.
No. Controversial. So I should say, I think my favorite player, if I'm honest, that's not on the Sharks, is Alex Ovechkin.
Okay.
And yes, he has been a controversial figure due to his affiliation with Russian government.
Yeah.
So I won't address that here.
Yeah.
I'll just talk about why I loved him as a player. And I loved him kind of growing up because I grew up in the Crosby Ovechkin era.
Yes.
Yeah. And my God, did this guy have personality?
Yeah.
I still remember the Fire Stick celly that he got in trouble for.
Oh, dude, I love it though. Good. I'm glad he pissed some people off with it.
The sliding on the back around the head goal,
and then he was kiss to the crowd.
Yeah.
Away crowd.
I think if you just got in the NHL in the current maybe 5 or 6 years, these don't seem like big deals to you because crazy shit happens every night now.
Yeah.
Michigan's, crazy deeks, flying, people flying down the wing and snapping it.
Yeah.
In the 2000s, that didn't happen.
No.
It wasn't like dead puck level, but it was still kind of grindy. No one's doing flashy things.
They're still enforcers. You need them in the game. Yeah.
Yeah. You couldn't go flying down the wing because the defenseman would just, slam you against the wall.
Yeah.
Doing a spinorama was huge.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, here's Ovechkin sliding on his back and scoring a goal.
Yeah. Does that count as a spinorama?
I mean, I don't think he wasn't on purpose. He fell or was tripped or something, right? And then still managed to get the goal in. And the jubilance he would see on his face every time he scored.
Yeah.
He was such a contrast to the rest of the NHL, that, you just had to follow him. He was on the highlight reels every night, and this was before I was on Reddit or Instagram or that stuff didn't
even exist, right?
Yeah. Instagram didn't.
Yeah.
Reddit might have, but I was too young.
Yeah.
So I'm getting it from, what they covered in the intermissions.
Yeah.
And every time I'm watching a Sharks game, here's an Ovechkin highlight and him doing something else insane. The All-Star games of him just showing up with
Malkin and
the two sticks. This guy was such a contrast to the rest of the NHL that, you know, he was the first player I remember liking that. I liked him because he didn't play even despite the fact that he didn't play for my team. I should say I liked him. The way he impacted my love of hockey, I don't think I can understate.
I'm surprised you talked so much about personality and you forgot one major moment, which was the summer of Ovi.
Oh yes, when he won that cup.
Yeah, I mean the entire NHL was, except for Pittsburgh and Vegas fans, everyone was stoked about it.
I know, finally,
because like there's nobody that deserved it more and wanted to see. And I think the 2018 Cup celebration by the Caps was some of the
legendary,
craziest partying I've ever seen in my life. Besides maybe like Colorado.
And up until then, like people would always be very hush hush about their Cup celebrations. Like
they didn't give a fuck.
They're up to something with the Cup, and you just hear these leaks of stories. Of
they were trashed in a fountain.
In Vegas, and that. It just kept going. The party just kept going. And TJ Oshie chugging a beer through his jersey.
I forgot about that. It was the most legendary Cup celebration ever.
It was the most cathartic Cup win I've ever seen.
I again, I've never been a huge Washington fan, and honestly, I was rooting for Tampa for many years. I loved watching Tyler Johnson play as well, and he was also one of those super entertaining players on the Lightning and would torch teams. But man, I wasn't even upset that the Capitals beat the Lightning in the Eastern Finals and then went to the Cup. Man, I was like, you know what, you guys deserve it, and I couldn't be happier that you won it. It was also nice that Vegas didn't have their perfect Cinderella story, because I think that would have just pissed off everyone. Everyone.
I mean, winning in 6 years still made a lot of people angry.
I mean, of course, but one right off the bat, while Columbus and Minnesota have like barely smelled any playoff success since their inception in 2000 or whatever it was. I would be angry. Even if you're like a Wings fan who's like seen your team win dynasties.
And just that year, after they beat the Penguins that year, who were that
was so cathartic as well.
Beating the Penguins after the Penguins had won the past two cups. No one was stopping them. Like he
was on a mission.
And Hopi making the save and all that.
Oh,
It was a mission.
Legendary playoff run. Probably one of my favorite of all time.
All right. Let's talk about retired players. We've watched for a long time. Who's a player that has since retired that you really enjoyed watching?
Is it wrong that I keep listing Sharks players?
Well, this one never said not the Sharks.
Okay, then I'm going to go for Evgeny Nabokov.
Really?
Evgeny Nabokov. Legend. Because he would have his moments where he was a little bit streaky, I'll admit. And then, he was dealt to the Islanders a little bit later in his career. But some of the saves he would make, especially, I still to this day see the overtime Dallas save in, 2008, the playoffs. And it was they were on the brink of elimination. Granted, they did lose in quadruple overtime eventually, but the save he made on, I think it was Brendan Morrow, where it should have been in, and his what do you call it? His
glove?
His glove was on the line, the puck line.
It was just barely kept it out.
That was like he basically did heart stopping highlights as a goalie before it just became a normal thing in the NHL. Unbelievable. And honestly, I'll throw an honorable mention to Carey Price too for the same reason. So watching an insanely good goalie, just. Oh man, unbelievable.
Those are two very different styles. Carey Price was so good because he was never out of position.
Sure.
He made it look easy.
Yeah, but just
Nabby didn't make it look easy.
Right, but watching an insanely good goalie is just you have to cheer for it. I don't know how you can't. Like
I feel like Nabby is a controversial figure in Sharks history.
Really?
Because
he's still there as a goalie coach, I think.
Yeah, he's the goalie coach now, but because he'd have these moments, but like come playoff time, he was just never that prolific outside of one or two saves, you know? And honestly, I think it's because the Sharks over-relied on him during the regular season.
Yeah.
He'd play stupid amount of games.
Yeah. They really did. Like, I don't know why they didn't put the backup in.
Because they never had a good backup. Looking back on it now, they never really had a good backup.
In hindsight, I think that's more of a coaching problem than a than his fault, you know?
Yeah.
So,
but they basically, I feel like they'd just wear him out, and then playoff time he'd be gassed.
And you can't really blame that on him. So,
but also, the flashy saves you made at the time. I remember some people who I knew who were Sharks fans calling him a little showboaty.
Shut up. Shut up. I mean, come on.
Especially, like those cartwheel saves he used to make sometimes.
Shut up. Those were awesome. Those were great. I miss those. Yeah. No, those are great. And they're good for the game too. Let's be real. Like, especially in the day and age of social media, he would have done so well.
Oh yeah,
so well.
He retired a little too early.
A little too early. Yeah. So, yeah. What about you though? Retired player that you enjoy watching.
So this player, I enjoyed watching just because he was a freak of nature. And to see him play, it was just so interesting.
I feel like I already know what you're going to say.
Because this guy was massive.
Okay, maybe not.
Had a massive reach. And every time I see him on screen, I'm like, no way that's a real human being. That was Zdeno Chara. Oh my God, that guy was huge.
Yeah.
And seeing him play was just like, you can't get around him. Because he has this massive wingspan with a stick. And if you try to go right at him, he'll body you.
Yeah.
He was a freak of nature to play. And I really enjoyed watching him because I'm like, nobody else in the league can do that.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Have you seen those videos that kind of circulate now where he's just a regular dude running marathons and he's just
massively
taller than everyone?
He was what, like 6'9" or something?
Something like that. And on skates 6'11".
Yes, insane.
Yeah.
He could have been in the NBA.
Yeah. And the thing is, he was like a reliable force too. Like he was a good player, you know?
And on both ends of the puck too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I kind of forgot about him, but now that you mention it, yeah, you're right. Like, what were you going to do with that?
Yeah.
He's like the Boban of the NHL, or he was the Boban of the NHL.
He reminds me more of like, who's the rookie? I can't pronounce his name. Wembanyama?
Oh, yeah, Victor Wembanyama. Yeah.
He's just this massive reach. And you try to go around him, he's like, nope.
Yeah. That's true. Except he was muscular as hell too. So
yeah,
I was like, how do you even build muscle on a frame that big?
You do. It just doesn't look like he's ripped because the muscle's so long. But still,
I guess, yeah. But
like, do you want to go into a board battle with Zdeno Chara?
No, just give up. That man was a freak of nature.
Who would win one NHL player or a really buff giraffe on skates? That's basically going down the wall against Zdeno Chara.
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to go ahead and give it to the giraffe. Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to laugh.
Yeah.
I would watch it and I just laugh. Like, oh, that was insane.
Yeah. I also can't believe because I didn't really prepare that well for these questions, but I'm going to throw one more honorable mention for a retired player. It's a Pavel Datsyuk.
Oh, yeah. The Magic Man.
Just, oh my God. I honestly thought he was better than Crosby for a long time until Crosby just kind of took that throne, you know? I was like, this man is definitely better than Crosby. I don't know why he's not in the conversation.
Yeah,
probably because he's older. But yeah, I was actually genuinely sad when he retired. So the game is not the same without him. So
the Datsyuk flip is still a legend.
Yeah, it's still being played in like greatest shootout goal compilations of all time.
If it becomes a move in the NHL video game, I think you've made it.
Yeah, you've solidified your legacy. Yeah. So another honorable mention to Pavel Datsyuk of the Red Wings.
Absolutely. So we talked about old players. How about young players? Who's your favorite, like, up-and-coming star? And I ask you to limit this to anyone 25 and under.
Yeah, that's Phil Kessel, for sure.
Yeah, rookie Phil Kessel.
Yeah, rookie Phil Kessel. Is he still playing in the league? I can't remember.
I think
he's on a free agent right now.
Yeah, because people are scared of the Iron Man streak.
Oh,
because if you sign him, then they're like, oh, you have to play him. But apparently he's open to ending the streak. It's a whole thing. So,
wow.
We'll see.
Didn't know it was that deep. But yeah. No, my real answer is Cale Makar, though. I went to a game in, I believe it was the Colorado, or it was the Senators at Colorado in like December or something. Mm-hmm. There's the one where Nathan MacKinnon scored 4 goals, first time in like franchise history. More so than MacKinnon, though. He was impressive, don't get me wrong. We were like kind of pretty close to the glass, and just watching just the absolute force that was Cale Makar, who was supposed to be injured and possibly out of the lineup that game. Mm-hmm. Thank God he wasn't. I was so blown away by watching, and he's also just very smart in terms of like getting a play set up, as most defensemen should be. But the hockey IQ as well as just the speed and power on that man is just unbelievable. Something I've never seen before.
Yeah,
and it kind of attributes to, as you said, the game is not so much fast or is not so much hard hitting anymore as it is like speed and skill.
Yeah,
but it's poetry in motion. when you do see it. And Cale
Yeah.
McCarr is that. It's not a coincidence that he won Conn Smythe and, just did so well for himself so early on. So.
Every time he's on the ice, you just look around and you're like, oh, that's McCarr making that play happen again and again.
You could take the name and number off his jersey and it's him on ice.
Yeah.
That's how good he is. And a lot of people were like shitting on the Avalanche for losing the draft lottery that one year they were really bad.
Mm-hmm.
They got Cale McCarr.
Yeah, well,
I think they won.
I think that's more on the what was it, 3 or 4 teams ahead of them?
Yeah, something like that. But
yeah,
I was like, yeah, you screwed up. Cale McCarr was the number 1 overall draft pick. I'm sorry. So
yeah, he's so good.
Yeah. So yeah, Cale McCarr, 25 and I guess he's 25. I think.
Yeah.
So yeah.
For me, I would have to say Patrick Laine.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I loved Patrick Laine his first 2 seasons in Winnipeg.
Yeah, you have his jersey.
I have his jersey. I have his Winnipeg jersey.
Yeah.
The way he played, it reminded me of a young Ovechkin who I loved growing up. Right, it brought that nostalgia back to hockey for me.
Yeah,
and then seeing him in interviews and just the crazy shit that he would pull.
You see, like the pit vipers he would wear with the suit,
the crazy outfits, the goat looking beard that he had for a while.
That was a bad look. Like, I'm glad he got rid of that.
But he's so himself. Yeah, and that's what I loved.
Yeah,
and I'm still burned into the story of how he loved to play video games. So whenever they're on a road trip, he'd just buy a TV, and then at the end of the trip, he'd like return it or throw it out or whatever.
Donate it.
Yeah. And then I remember reading the story on Reddit, and someone did the math, and they're like, if you go by percentage of salary, this is equivalent to a regular person buying a coffee every day. Jesus. He just buys a TV. I'm like, oh, this guy's insane.
I remember the first time you told me that story, and I thought you were just bullshitting me.
No, he just bought a TV everywhere he went.
I need someone to actually verify that because I still don't fully believe it, but also I completely believe it. So,
and I know he hasn't had the best like hockey stats in the past couple seasons, but I still believe that given the right situation, he can put it together.
Yeah,
it seemed like there wasn't a personality match in Winnipeg. Mm-hmm. He had a great first 2 seasons, but they always seemed to want something more out of him that he just didn't have.
Yeah.
They ended up trading.
He was also so young. I don't know how they expected that out of him.
I mean, they were comparing him to players like Matthews. And,
that's unfair, though. That's so unfair. Like, I don't know.
But yeah, I think we've seen what Laine can do on a good team, right? Mm-hmm. I think expecting him to be the guy is not the right role for him.
Okay.
But expecting him to be one of the guys is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think he's had that in Columbus. In Columbus, he's kind of expected to be the guy, but he's like Ovechkin. He cannot set things up, but he can finish.
Yeah.
And every time I see him make a highlight reel, every time I'm like, God damn that shot.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
I still think on a better team, he would still shine.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that he can figure out a team or a situation, or Columbus can figure that out for him, because I think Patrick Laine has a lot to give still to the NHL.
Yeah, for sure. Agreed. Yeah. I honestly, I was surprised by the answer, but I remembering the almost like Matthews Laine comparisons and like almost like the weird, it was never really addressed by either player, but the way they would battle each other as a first and second overall pick was reminiscent of McDavid Eichel almost,
Yeah.
And it was super entertaining.
Now the battle has become McDavid Matthews, right?
Yeah. I mean, that also might be Canadian media.
Yeah.
Doing their thing, but.
Plus, Eichel playing on the West Coast. Out of all those 4, Eichel's the only one with a cup, just saying. But the way Vegas plays with like such depth, it's not like Eichel stands out as much compared to everyone around him, you know? And then Laine is just kind of falling off the map a little.
Yeah.
So,
It is interesting that because how stacked Vegas is, there's 1 or 2, maybe 3 players tops for any team where like that's the number 1 selling jersey. And Eichel's one of them, but so is Stone, so is Pietrangelo, so is I mean, you could. I'm sure Fleury jerseys are still selling. Yeah, I'm sure they are.
I'm sure any of the Misfits, Marchessault.
Yeah. He won Conn Smythe. Yeah, exactly. That team was too stacked for them to not have one. I feel like so. Yeah, I totally understand. But yeah, Laine is he was entertaining. I mean, he still is entertaining, and I'm really hoping he can pull it together.
Yeah, or Columbus figure something out, because the NHL I think needs Patrick Laine.
Yeah, they need his personality too. So,
all right, let's end this episode with your favorite player of all time.
Piece of cake. Still playing, still a legend. Joe Pavelski,
Captain America.
Goddamn American hero. Yeah, I am still angry at Doug Wilson for letting him walk and signing Erik Karlsson to one of the worst deals I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a hard time. I don't think I'll ever forgive him. He did.
No, I remember even when Karlsson would do good things, you're like, eh.
Yeah, I was still. He's still lighting. I'm pretty sure he's leading the scoring race in Dallas right now.
Pavelski?
Yeah. As a 38, 39-year-old?
Yeah.
You let that man walk. He's also the best captain in Sharks history, but
they let him walk over not wanting to give him 3 years.
Yeah, they gave him 2.
Dallas gave him 3, and now he signed another contract beyond that.
Yeah, because he's still crushing it. I was like, this, you could have gotten like 4 to 6 years of good Pavelski left, and you signed a guy made of glass.
Yeah.
You threw away and now the entire team is dead last. So
honestly, the Sharks missing out on Tavares kind of set them on the path that they're on now.
I don't think the Tavares contract would have been that great either. They were willing to way overpay for that.
Yeah, but that's what they needed. They needed a top 6 forward.
I guess.
They didn't need another defenseman,
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. But Joe Pavelski's still killing it in Dallas, and I really hope I can see him play again before he retires. Any Dallas game, I'll literally go anywhere.
Or, if Dallas comes to San Jose or
San Jose or
somewhere around SoCal,
somewhere around California. Yeah, I guess anywhere on the East Coast. I could go to a Seattle game. Maybe that could be cool too. I haven't been to the Climate Pledge Arena yet either. So yeah, Joe Pavelski, easy answer. And yeah, greatest captain of all time. Honestly, in my opinion, future. I think 8 will be in the rafters in San Jose at some point. Easy answer, Joe Pavelski. Yeah.
Well, for me, I got to pick the other Joe.
Thornton.
Jumbo Joe Thornton
Thornton,
is my favorite player of all time.
Yeah.
When I first got into hockey, he was the guy on the San Jose Sharks. And the way he would set people up, like I admired, I've talked a lot about goal scorers in this episode, but the setup, man, I always just loved. Like the fact that he would make these crazy, crazy plays, but he's not the one scoring the goal. Yeah. It's all to give someone else just a tap in.
Yeah.
Jonathan Chichu won a Rocket Richard just playing on his line. I
saw that stat the other day and I was like, that is the most, I think it was
56
goals. Yeah. And let's be real, it was mostly because of Thornton.
Yeah.
He didn't reproduce like that ever again.
Yeah.
But I mean, what a homie. Like, he probably got such a good contract out of that. Like,
he did. He played on the Sharks for another few years after that.
There you go. And never again. Yeah.
Thornton is still, I think, the only player to win the Hart Trophy playing for 2 different teams in the season.
That's right. Yeah.
Because he won it the year he got traded from Boston to San Jose.
Yeah. Which is insane. How do you fit so seamlessly into a system like that?
I mean, he was just what the doctor ordered. Yeah. And that no-look pass to Marleau is still played on every highlight reel I can ever see. I don't even
against Vancouver or something in the playoffs.
I don't even remember what game it was, but I can visualize the play where he comes down the wall. He's fighting, I think, 2 or 3 opposition players. He looks and he sees Marleau is parked in front of the net, and during the board battle, he passes it backhand between his legs, right to Marleau, who scores.
Yeah,
without looking, he just kind of knows where Marleau is.
Yeah,
and the 2 of them were such a force.
Yeah. If you hadn't watched the Sharks in the 2010s, those 2 players together were unstoppable. I mean, granted, they didn't go that far in the playoffs every single time, but man, you can't fault those 2 either. Yeah. That was almost like a McDavid Eichel situation.
Yeah,
but McDavid or Thornton being McDavid and Eichel being not Eichel, Draisaitl. Sorry, McDavid Draisaitl situation.
It's both, actually, because they were the 1 and 2 pick in 97.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. You're right. Damn. Subconscious hockey mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. But McDavid Draisaitl and Thornton Marleau, they're comparables for sure. So
yeah. And, because he played at the same time as names like Crosby and Ovechkin, I feel like he was kind of under the radar a bit. Yeah. Plus that he played all the way in the West Coast.
I feel like he enjoyed being under the radar.
Yeah. I don't think he had a big spotlight in Boston. Yeah. I don't think he liked it as much. But... And just personality wise, you could see how much he loved hockey.
Yeah.
And that was the baseline for everything he did, is that he loved hockey.
Yeah.
So I love Joe Thornton. Yeah. The first jersey I have, I customized to a Joe Thornton. He's going to have his number retired next year.
Yeah. You're going to go to the game?
I don't know. I don't think I can afford that. Ticket price is going to be through the roof.
Way in the nosebleeds.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
Binoculars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, and one of his last seasons, him scoring the hat trick in San Jose still brings a tear to my eyes.
Yeah, that's right. If there's only one
all
more.
Those commercials he did with Brent Burns, like,
yeah,
I loved his personality. I loved his play.
Yeah,
and I wouldn't be here today without Joe Thornton.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. You really can't. Again, going back to players that are synonymous with Sharks hockey, I think you got to throw Joe Thornton up there, probably as number 2, with Patrick Marleau. So
yeah, I mean, Patrick Marleau got his first jersey retired in San Jose. I think Thornton will be the second.
Yeah, and Pavelski third, hopefully.
Yeah,
hopefully. So once he's done,
well, if he never retires, then,
yeah. I was like, a man's still putting up crazy Conn Smythe numbers right now. So yeah. All right. That was a good reminiscent episode.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed some nostalgia. Hope you guys enjoyed getting to know us a little better.
Yeah. Should we do more episodes like this? I feel like we should.
Do let us know. This is great summer content, maybe.
Yeah. We don't always have to talk about the here and now.
You know, we can talk about history. We can talk about other
what
teams
ifs.
That we like, other what ifs,
Yeah.
you know. Our favorite hockey memories, whatever you want us to know.
Some more Jersey stuff. That would be nice.
Absolutely, yeah. Do let us know if you enjoyed this episode.
Yeah.
But other than that, we'll be back next week. This is Glass Seats. We're out every week. You can catch us on Spotify, Apple, and Google. We're also on YouTube and Instagram. At Spud Network Podcast is the handle. You can check out this show. You can check out all of our other shows as well. We'll see you soon.
Bye.